Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be doing a complete and full review on the Spirit Halloween 2023 animatronic Emmeline. So I think without further ado, let's just hop into this review. So right off the bat, this prop's motion is absolutely incredible. We've really never seen anything like it in retail, and it is quite literally professional quality. So I think first of all, let's just start off with the details. Now for details, Emmeline really doesn't have much going for her. Honestly, if I'm being quite honest, she's not very detailed at all. She has these hands, which are actually vinyl material. Which is actually nice, just so you know she hasn't hurt anyone with plastic hands. But her face is hard plastic. And there's honestly not much detailing going on here, but I think it works well for what it is. I almost wish it didn't have the red LEDs, and it kind of sucks too because you can't really get rid of them since they're attached to the same wire, which is the IR sensor. It's not really that big of a deal though. And then she's kind of has this white silky like cloth and creepy cloth all over her. And then her back is quite literally just a massive kind of white blanket almost covering it. I know you can kind of see the mech on camera, but in the dark, it's not really that noticeable, and no one's really gonna be looking at her from this angle either. Honestly, details is probably her lowest point, since just appearance-wise, she doesn't have too much going for it. But her animation definitely makes up for it. Now, what her animation actually does is probably the best jump scare animation in retail, I might even say ever. It's really impressive, really. So first of all, she starts off as 7 feet tall. I don't really know if you can get that on camera, but she is definitely 7 feet tall. And then her head lifts up and her arms kind of go up as well. And then she jumps out almost 4 feet like towards you. We've really, once again, never seen anything like it in retail. And it's really impressive just, you know, how effective the jump scare really works. I know some people are a bit mad that she's in box only. She's not even filler. I don't think will ever be set up in stores unless a store makes a mistake. Just because she is massive. I mean, even just in the retracted form, it's kind of hard to see, but I almost want to say it's about 5 feet, just in width. And on top of that, being paired how she's 7 feet tall, this might just be, you know, one of the biggest animatronics I have, like actual animated animatronics. I think this is probably the biggest in my collection, just because when she's fully out, I measured her and she's literally about 10 feet wide, which is absolutely insane. So do keep that in mind if you want to fit her in your haunt. It might be a bit tricky just since she's literally 10 feet wide. So you do have to keep that in mind. She was a lot bigger for the area I had planned for her, so I might have to make some improvises, but that's all good. But yeah, back on her animation, it is just incredible. It's such an effective scare. It may be a bit dangerous, just since you do kind of have to get close to the sensor and you have to back up real quick. But if you actually go like right in front of her as she's jumping out towards you, it's a very, very effective jump scare. It's definitely not as effective if you're like super far back, but it still works pretty well. But as I said, really this character, basically all it has going for it is its animation. I'm gonna be completely real. I'd say the details, probably like a solid like 6.5 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. I do actually like how the face looks in person. I just don't really like those LEDs, but the animation is an easy 10 out of 10. Definitely carries this prop. Now I think we should get into the setup portion of this, and probably where some of my cons start to arrive. Now, these aren't really cons on the prop, but it is a pretty tough prop to set up, especially mine, just because some of my metal poles were kind of welded a bit wrong, and I had to sort of reshape them. It was pretty hard to do. It wasn't too big of a deal, but just kind of took a while and it was kind of annoying. It's just a pretty tricky prop to set up, you know, for techie standards. I think you could consider it Mr. Dark level of a setup. I mean, they are pretty similar props. I think this one was more hard just because, you know, it was my first time. So I think once I set it up more, it should be pretty easy. So I remember my first time setting up Mr. Dark, I had kind of a tricky time. But yeah, so the setup is not very easy at all. There's like cotter pins and stuff. Thankfully no screws or zip ties. I do like that Tucky doesn't deal with that stuff. But yeah, setup is a bit tricky, so just kind of keep that in mind. Also, something to keep in mind, you will need weights on this thing. Like it is a required. She falls over if she's in like her complete extended form, like without weights, not even moving. That just shows how big of a prop that is. So you definitely need like probably well over 30 pounds to support this thing. I have like almost 100 pounds on it. They're not all the way on it, but she still kind of moves her base a bit, which is really just impressive. It just goes to show just how insane this motion is. Next up, I want to talk about the quality of this prop, and it is pretty solid. It's definitely an improvement from the 2021 model of Mr. Dark, just because he had both plastic gears and metal gears. But I am pretty positive that this prop uses completely metal gears, or at least like over 90% metal gears. I actually don't think there's any plastic gears, if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's just very nice to see because they won't strip easily, and you know, it just lasts much longer. Thankfully my Mr. Dark hasn't broken yet, but it might be on death's door pretty soon, just because those metal or those plastic gears strip pretty easily, and that's just not amazing, and it just kind of sucks overall. But yeah, as I said, the quality, you know, since it is a jump scare prop, and usually, you know, techie jump scare props aren't the best, they have definitely improved in recent years with the quality. I mean, this is a mostly metal prop. You know, in the mechanism, there's very little plastic, which is very good to see. Even the hands, as I mentioned earlier, they're kind of a squishy vinyl material, which I guess could be better quality than plastic. Overall, just a very solid quality prop. She doesn't have like the trash bag clothing. It's actually, you know, a nice, almost silky like material for the clothing. Not that high quality, but it just feels much better than, you know, the average techie inflatable kind of bag clothing. And for my next category, I have the audio / phrases. This prop really, you know, I think it's a very solid audio. It's very similar to Mr. Dark's, and I think it works. I'm actually really glad that it doesn't talk like Mr. Dark. I think that works a bit better. I mean, this prop really doesn't need to have any phrases. And I do like that when it actually jumps out, its eyes turn red. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the LEDs, I do think that that effect works very well instead of it just automatically turning on, you know. So phrases are very solid as well. And for my final category, I have her price, and her price is a very, very solid price. $280, which is what Mr. Dark retailed for last year. And in my opinion, this is as effective, if not more effective, than the Mr. Dark jump scare. Is a very solid price. As I said, this is like poison props or like distortions quality of a prop. Obviously, you know, it's not as, you know, it's not pneumatics either. It's all electric, you know, just since Spirit doesn't do pneumatics, at least not yet. It's just a very high quality prop, and for the price you're getting and the scare factor that you're gonna get out of this thing, I think it's very worth it. I mean, this is definitely gonna be a standout in your haunt, if you have her or not. So overall, I think she's definitely worth the price, and overall, I think she's a solid 9 out of 10 prop. I really do not have many cons, besides, admittedly, the character itself is a bit bland, but I think I can easily look over that, and the setup wasn't the easiest. All right, and now let's go ahead and head to the demo. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, share, and of course, goodbye everyone.